Hello, I'm Mark Baldassare, President and CEO of the Public Policy Institute of California and also Survey Director of the PPIC statewide survey. And I'm going to talk to you today about our latest survey, which was conducted during the month of July. We interviewed 2,500 adults throughout California for this survey. It's the 10th in an annual series of surveys that we began in 2000 that looks at environmental issues. And so the focus of this survey is environmental issues. And I want to talk to you about the 5 main findings from our current survey. Probably the most public interest and attention right now is on a measure that would impact the current Global Warming Act, which is in effect in California, called AB 32. And while the survey didn't look directly at the initiative, it did look at how people feel about AB 32. And we found in our survey that 2/3 of Californians say that they continue to support the law, the state law, which would reduce greenhouse gas emissions to 1990 levels by 2020. So support continues to be strong for AB 32, about the same as we saw a year ago. The survey also looked at how economic attitudes are impacting attitudes towards global warming legislation. And we found in the context of, which is particularly important for the AB 32 initiative, we found in this context that Californians say that we ought to be taking action right away rather than waiting for jobs and the economy to improve. And in California, there is a divide between Republicans and Democrats, with Democrats feeling strongly that we should continue to take actions to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and most Republicans saying that they feel that we should wait until the economy improves. So that's the big dividing line in terms of public opinion. We also found, because there's been a lot of controversy over whether global warming measures will either add more jobs or take jobs away from the economy, we found in California that many more people feel that global warming legislation will be leading to more jobs rather than fewer jobs in our economy, both for the state as well as for the nation. So that's also a particularly important finding in the context of this upcoming election and the initiative involving global warming. Now, by far the biggest, most public environmental issue which has been in front of Californians and all Americans over the course of the last few months has been the Gulf oil spill. And so part of the purpose of this survey was to look more generally at environmental issues, and in the course of looking at environmental issues involving oil, we found that there was a tremendous change in public opinion about offshore oil drilling in the past year. A year ago, our survey found that a slim majority of Californians said that we should have more offshore oil drilling in California. And currently now, we're seeing a very solid majority of Californians, 59%, saying that they oppose having more offshore oil drilling in California. So that is a very significant change in public opinion, the most significant change that we saw in our survey, and obviously reflects upon what people have been reading and seeing about in the Gulf, and what the President has described as the worst environmental disaster in American history. Last but not least, as we look towards the November election and the governor's election, as well as the U.S. Senate election, which are taking place, we asked Californians how important environmental positions of the candidates would be on their vote for governor and U.S. Senate. And in the governor's race, we find a close race in our poll, with Terry Brown getting 37% of the vote and Meg Whitman getting 34% of the vote. And also in the Senate race, we find a close race with 39% supporting incumbent U.S. Senator Barbara Boxer and 34% supporting the incumbent or the challenger in that race, Carly Fiorina. Now we are in that race finding many undecided voters, but I think what's important to keep in mind in relevance to this survey is that most Californians said that they thought that the candidate's position, both in the governor's race and in the Senate race, will be important in their decisions in terms of who they will vote for in November. And in both cases, in both the U.S. Senate race and the governor's race, they said 4 out of 10 said that it would be very important to them what the positions of the candidates were on environmental issues. So I'd like to conclude with that finding because I think it points out once again that environmental issues are very important to Californians, and they will be very influential in what appears to be 2 close races for governor and U.S. Senate, as well as a ballot measure involving AB 32 and a state law regulating greenhouse gas emissions. So I thank you for your time and interest in PPIC's work, and look forward to further work on these topics in the future. Thank you.